F's in the beginning of the stream. Oh no. And I'm coughing terribly. They've come for me at every angle. They've come for my internet. They've come for my health. What's going on in this cruel world? We're back now, hopefully. Are you okay? No, I'm not okay. We haven't paid for this internet yet. We're still just doing a trial. But it's been shoddy at best. I need a drink. But how's everybody doing today? It's a Monday morning. It's time to start another week. Some bonks for me. I set it for 9:15, but I'm starting a little early because, you know, we've got the time. But I've got some Instagram posts and some videos to check out. I tried to look across Reddit to see what there was. Not too much news today, but God damn it. But if there's anything that comes up, I'll take a look. My God. Take a second. It's like my lungs are constricted. The audio's a little quiet for me, or is it for the music? Because I have the music kind of turned down a bit. But yes, we can get it started now. What an amazing intro. My God, my apologies. And to start it off, I want to start with my latest stim. Coming from Bob Cookies. A lot of people have liked this for obvious reasons, but what they probably haven't seen is the follow-up. So let's hear the original real quick. Welcome to the Boardwalk. Oh no. Start.
Welcome to the Boardwalk Bacon. Welcome to the Boardwalk Bacon. God damn, it's so hot. Welcome to the Boardwalk Bacon. Welcome to the Boardwalk Bacon. God damn, it's so hot. Welcome to...
But he followed that up. I've just been saying that all week. Walking around, people at the grocery store probably think I'm crazy. But we now have a full song. Let's finish the lyrics to the Boardwalk song.
So a bunch of you on here have asked me to finish the lyrics to the Boardwalk song. So I had some time to think about it this morning, and here's what I've come up with. If you have any ideas of your own, please feel free to have fun with it. Welcome to the Boardwalk Bacon. Welcome to the Boardwalk Bacon. God damn, it's so hot, so hot. Funnel cakes melting in the summer sun. Crows stealing chips, but the party has just begun. Spent $13 on some lemonade, but the ice all melted 'cause there's no shade. Now what the hell am I gonna do? I'm stuck out here, feeling blue. Welcome to the Boardwalk Bacon. Welcome to the Boardwalk Bacon. God damn, it's so hot. Yeah! All right, your turn. Go have fun.
It is our turn to go have fun. Shout out Bob Cookies. Dr. Cookies, as he likes to be referred to as. He has bars, it's true. Let's see another one of his classics.
Cybertruck does whatever a Cybertruck does. It can drive, it can park, it can dance out in the dark. Look out, here comes the Cybertruck. Quack, quack.
Okay, Bob. Here he is snacking at the boardwalk. Oh, this must have been where he got the idea for the song. Oh, it was. It was while he was at the boardwalk. Look. He was inspired.
Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Bob here. I'm very pleased to share with you that I have been invited back to Plantation City Hall to co-host this year's Independence Day Parade, celebrating 250 years of American independence. I'm very grateful to the city and to the Parks and Recreation Department for the opportunity to return to City Hall to co-host this parade for the third year in the community that I call home. So I hope you will come out and join me on Saturday, July 4th in the morning at Plantation City Hall for the Independence Day Parade presented by the City of Plantation and Seminole Classic Casino in Hollywood. Hope to see you there. Hello, everybody. It's Dr.
I probably won't see you there, Bob Cookies, but good for you. 1 month, happy 1 month closer to fall. Bob just gets it. Dr. Bob, sorry. Gotta put some respect on the name.
Hi, it's Dr. Bob checking in. I just wanted to come on here briefly and say thank you. I was not expecting that last video I posted of the song I came up with to blow up the way it did. It's got nearly 250,000 views now. And all I did was just sing a song that I made up spontaneously on the spot there at the boardwalk. I've read all your comments, a lot of nice ones. Thank you for the support. It means a lot. I appreciate all that you guys do. And I certainly hope that it brightened your day. I was just having fun. I don't know how I'm ever going to follow that up, but it was nice. So thank you. And I hope that you continue to have great days ahead. Hi, it's Dr. Bob checking.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. Bob Woodruff. What a name. Welcome to the Instagram profile of the amazing Dr. Bob. I like cookies. Agreed, Dr. Bob. Give that. I don't think I can ever get tired of Disney. How could you? Well, I could get tired of Disney once my money all runs out and then I'm poor and I'm tired and I'm sad. The happiest place on earth? No, 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 no. My response to 9/11 was this. M&M's. Carved from stone. Link in bio.
This piece is called North Tower. It is my response to 9/11. Everybody was doing flags. I said to myself, what image pops in my head? What is America? America is fun. America is comfort food. America is M&Ms. American culture, fun, candy. This piece is called North Tower. It is my response to 9/11. Everybody was doing flags. I said to myself, what image pops in my head? What is America? America is fun. America is comfort food. America is M&Ms. American culture, fun, candy.
What do we think? I wouldn't even say it's disrespectful. It's just bizarre. So true. Everybody was doing flags. What is America? Consumerism. I guess you got that part right. When I think of 9/11, I don't tend to think of fun. Hey, if you would have showed me this as a kid, I probably would have listened more. I would have been like, it's an interesting story. Can I have an M&M? They're real big. I bet they're delicious. There's a lot of chocolate in there, I'm sure.
This piece is called North Tower.
Just that. It's moving, really. Just that part. This piece is called North Tower. Okay. But shout out Robin Antar, the Robinator. Now we have I got this on my Instagram. I got this on my feed randomly, and I got it perfectly on the day of the release.
In 4 days will be the premiere of my new film, Skate the Storm. It's about a rebellious skater who wants nothing more than to be in the X Games. Can he do it? You're just going to find out when Skate the Storm comes June 21st to YouTube.
I'm so pumped for this. All these people, 3,000 people liked this video. There was big hype for Skate the Storm. Let's check it out. Because you might be thinking, oh, wait. That was yesterday.
4 days will be the premiere of my new film, Skate the Storm. It's about a rebellious skater who wants nothing more than to be in the X Games. Can he do it? You're just going to find out when Skate the Storm comes June 21st.
That's a relatable story. I'm going to have to check it out. Oh, wait, we can check it out right now because it's June 22nd. Skate the Storm, directed by Jordan McDonald. He has 14,000 subscribers. This has 270 views. From 22 hours ago. Let's give it a like. I thought the audio was turned down, but there just is none. It's not muted at all. It's muted on their end. It's a silent film.
I'll never be in the X Games.
Hey, man.
But
What's up?
I tried this trick for so long and it's not working.
So you're a skater, right?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, man.
Yeah?
Keep believing in yourself.
Okay.
You got this. I believe it. You just gotta...
This is real meta. He's the director, but he's in his own film. And in it, he's directing the skater, telling him, like, hey, you've got to keep going on. It's a nice little cameo he did.
You just gotta keep going. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Don't let nobody, like, tell you otherwise. Don't believe it in here, but believe it in...
In your heart, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Action.
You know what? Maybe he's right. I just gotta believe in my heart.
Action.
You know, the movie, this feature-length film is only 3 minutes long, so they had to keep in those actions, couldn't cut down anymore. You know, we're already a minute and 44 seconds in. I don't know how we're going to get to the X Games at this point. Maybe he isn't going to do it.
Go ahead.
I want to get out of this town and prove what it takes to be in the X Games.
Go ahead.
I know he said prove what it means to be in the X Games, but it sounded like he said it proves what it means to be a Mexican. I'm just hearing things, but it's because there's this loud buzzing over all of it.
Go ahead.
I want to get out of this town and prove what it takes to be in the X Games.
Go ahead.
At least there was some birds chirping there, you know, it was a little bit of ambiance. Directed by Jordan McDonald. The moral of this story is sometimes even following your heart doesn't work. You know, these are some pretty cinematic shots, though. Look at this. Pretty good. Do you think these were just pulled from, like, some stock video of rain? The way he's standing, the only thing he could do is a nose manual. He could do like a cool... He could do like one of those cool freestyle tricks where you like just fling the board away from you and like start running and then jump back on. They always set up their feet like this when they do that. That's it. That's the movie. That's Skate the Storm. Need this in theaters. When is part 2? So it's a sequel you want, huh? I think we need a sequel. The first part was 3 minutes. What's the budget of this film? $82 million. But then the director replied and said, there's no budget, but if there was, like bro said, $82 million. Okay. Give this man 82. This is just a proof of concept. And give him 82 million and he will create the best Skate the Storm film you've ever seen. There's music? Wait, that's a good point. Oh, thank you for the coins. The gold coins. Oh no, my internet. Why? Why have you forsaken me? The coins did it. I had to do work stuff, but now I'm back to goofing on the clock. That's how it goes. That's the way life should be. I think we're back. I think we're fine. At least you didn't miss any of the important Skate the Storm film. He has 14,000 subscribers. Did he bot these? He bought the bots. Oh, he's like a hometown celebrity. YouTuber, director, family man, probably. He's done it all.
Madeira, Ohio.
And he's from Ohio. It all adds up.
Place where the J-Money era began. What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another vlog, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jordan McDonald, aka J McDonald 2001. We are here up in Madeira, Ohio. I got some friends with me today. I got, let's see who we got over here. We got my buddy D'Angelo. Say what's up, D. What's up? And then we got my boy Wendell over here. Get it. So.
Oh, he was the skater in the movie. I've seen him before. He's an actor, high-time actor. A-list. Z-list? A Z-list actor. But shout out J McDonald 2001. You know, we're on the same path. Just YouTubers trying to make it in this crazy world, am I right? God damn it. No, wait, I needed that. That was a song. She's back. Yes, I did in fact write this masterpiece after a man told me that I wasn't a real artist. Set him straight. Don't you ever underestimate me again. I won't. Never have, never will. Let's see.
Broad sense, but in actuality, you don't know anything. You wanna be an artist so bad. Your whole identity is a farce. Play a good game, good show. You think somehow holding a paintbrush makes you a poet. Reading a book makes you know it. Oh, to know the art you must destroy it. Learn the basics just to reinvent the rules. Use angst and rebellion as a tool. Paint outside the lines, redefine the principles. What makes you think that you're that good, that you could be so cruel? Completely mental, head case disgrace. artistry. In the broad.
True artistry. I will say, if you are holding a paintbrush, that does not make you a poet. And if you hold a book, that does not mean you know it. Holding a paintbrush makes you a lot closer to a painter than a poet. That is also the case. Oh. This is what I mean. YouTube needs to get its shit together. We can't use emoticons anymore. Paintbrush equals poet. Which only the true poets will understand. Mimicry.
I'm sick of being sweet and nice, dependable, so expendable, waiting for them to just take a bite. Leveling up, taking names like they pay me, royalties, rupees, diamonds, gems. Yeah, I'm
Wait, I need to hear that one again. I was gonna say, I can't tell, because we've talked about this before. With music, I feel like 90% of the time it's like production. Like, if you have a good producer, they can make you sound good even if you're not like that good. But I don't know if that's the case here. I don't know if this can be salvaged. That second one was crazy. She's so cool. She's very cool. I'll just leave it there.
of being sweet and nice, dependable, so expendable, waiting for them to just take a bite. Leveling up, taking names like they pay me, royalties, rupees, diamonds, gems. Yeah.
Royalties, rupees, diamonds, gems. Bars?
Yeah, I'm tired of being nice. Yeah, these bitches hate me out of spite. Play fake nice to my face while they fucking hate my guts. No applause, just apologies. Put myself out to the wolves. Predators playing prey. I like my enemies better when they bare their fangs, instead of acting nice to my face. More creativity in my little fucking toe than all these clowns as a whole. The city puts on a show. I'm your marionette. Wanna be an artist so bad. Your whole identity is a farce. Play a good game, good show. You think nothing.
Was that the same song that we heard before? It sounded like a completely... Maybe it was a different section of the same song. It sounded so different compared to what we heard before.
Weird, pick me, bitch. Weird, pick me, bitch. Try to. I'm sick of being sweet and nice, dependable, so expendable, waiting for them to just take a bite. Leveling up, taking names like they pay me, royalties, rupees, diamonds, gems.
One thing I always wonder when I hear different like people that make music is like, do you write your lyrics before or after you hear the instrumental? Because I understand writing lyrics down when they like come to your mind, but I feel like you have to rework them once you like hear a beat or an instrumental, and you have to kind of rework those lines into the song. Because there's parts of it where she's on beat and then she'll just completely like just go off. But you know, go off, queen. The way I think about it's like this, you know, I like Daniel Johnston and AJJ. I don't like conventional music, so I think there's, you know, an audience for everybody. So keep at it. Now this is crazy. I've never seen a person be able to jump so high. Like, I'm actually I'm scared of this guy. He's like a kangaroo. If he kicked you, it'd probably like stop organs. Here, take a look. It doesn't seem real. Like, it just seems it shouldn't be real. It's the hang time too. How are your feet not like completely destroyed too, just doing this on a hard floor, like on hard concrete or whatever this is? This totally just reminded me of something. Yeah, it reminds me of this from, who remembers this from Diary of a Wimpy Kid? I do not remember what book this is from. But in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, there was a story somebody told about a kid or somebody or something like this where they kept digging a hole deeper and deeper and they kept jumping out of the hole to practice jumping higher and higher because it's like that way you have like a progressive gain each time. And then Greg thought this is perfect for me to harass people and then run away because then I can just jump up into like, you know, a fire escape or something. It's perfect. But this guy's basically that. Hopping with 315. You know, he's built like how I imagine cavemen are built. Like kind of a short torso, very long limbs. Like I bet he's really good at like throwing a spear. That's basic gymnastics shit, Captain. I would highly disagree. This is at the very least a very advanced gymnastics shit. Not that I could do it. My 44-year-old knees would shatter. Give it a try. If you can do it, then it'll protect your knees. Look at this. Like, look at what the? Just a little hop. Like he's easily getting like maybe 3 feet. That's over 2.5 feet for sure. Just the first thing. Okay, just the first one.
Fly home, buddy. I work.
Like, I think a lot of people could probably do that with enough training. But it's the height he's getting on some of these. Just stop. Don't kick me, please, ever. He also has a interesting profile picture. This is his account too. At first I thought that it wasn't. I thought it was just like a random person's account. Like a random like a oh, and he's got a some kind of course. I thought it was like a meme page because of the profile picture. Yeah, $15 a month for vertical jump training. I could just dig a hole, Diary of a Wimpy Kid style. My cat can jump like 7 feet. There's a... How far can cats jump? Because height-wise... vertical leap, they can jump 6 to 8 feet from a standing position. Horizontally, they can cover even greater distances. Some cats leap 8 to 9 feet in a single bound. They can jump sometimes 5 to 6 times their own body length. That doesn't add up at all, but okay. I guess. No, it doesn't, but... Even if I could do that, I wouldn't survive the landing. This would be me after that. After that intense training to become the best jumper. Warning. Headphone warning. Sound warning. Okay. That was enough time.
Ah! Come on! Show me what an Omega level mutant can do!
I need to start making videos like this. I'm going to start making videos like this. This is amazing. Oh my god, my cat's getting on my bookshelf. Get off my bookshelf. Why are you knocking over my stuff? What have you got to say? Anything? Barely see you. Come on. Say something. Come on. Just saying little things. You don't got anything big to say? On the floor. You didn't have anything interesting to say. What can it... But this definitely feels like a line from Marvel Rivals. This is a new self-tape to play Iceman in Marvel Studios and Jake Schreier's new film X-Men. Playing this character has been a lifelong dream of mine. It's also the reason I devoted my life and my career path towards acting and performing. I'm beyond grateful for the support I have been receiving through this journey. I know I'm reaching high, but Marvel has been known to cast actors just breaking into the industry, and that's exactly the position I'm in. Now he's destroying the blinds. Dude, I'm trying to talk about this amazing up-and-coming actor. Go. Go. Get up there. Come on. Go get up in the window. Go. Yep. Taking his sweet time. Literally pulling on the blinds, and as soon as I open them up for him, he's just looking at me. It's like, oh, thanks. I know I'm reaching high, but Marvel has been known to cast actors just breaking into the industry, and that's exactly the position I'm in. All I'm asking for is a chance, and I won't let my fellow fans down. He's going to be Iceman. You've seen it. Nick Rogers.
Ah! Come on! Show me what an Omega level mutant can do!
Come on! I don't want to scream too loud. Gotta be outside if I'm gonna do these. I'm gonna do it outside, right next to a busy road. So you can barely hear me. That's how I'm gonna record my videos. But I think he's got it. I think he could be Iceman. Let's see if he has any more of these videos.
Well, some people say that I'm extra hilarious. I'm an X-Man. One of the originals, actually. Speaking of that, there's actually a time-displaced version of me here, too. He's a pretty cool guy, but not as cool as me. Well, some people say that I'm extra hilarious. I'm an X-Man. One of the originals, actually.
One of the OGs.
You know, with all your superpowers, you guys can't even stand a refreshing dose of freezing ice cubes. You know, with all your superpowers, you guys can't even stand a refreshing dose of freezing ice cubes.
Tom Holland has been really good at hiding the fact that he is a nepotism baby. I didn't know that, so I guess you're right. Factually proven by the fact that I quite literally didn't know that was the case. Not surprised though. That's the way it usually goes, right? Is everybody thinks oh, who are these actors? And it's oh, they're not an up and comer. They're just somebody's nephew or somebody, you know what I mean? Some producer's grandson. It's always something where it isn't an immediate. Everybody expects it to be Hugh Jackman's son, Adam Sandler's daughter. That's what they're expecting as the next generation. But it's always it'll be in the family through directors or producers, executives, whatever. But maybe I'm wrong for Holland. Maybe Tom Holland's literally his dad was actually in Star Trek. You'd be surprised. He's really going hard for this right now.
Oh, Mr. Kingston, I wasn't expecting you to still be here.
I thought I'd work late, get ready for tomorrow.
Tomorrow, right. Are you nervous?
I wasn't. Until I saw you.
I make you nervous? Oh, Jacob. Silence. Jacob Kingston doesn't get nervous.
Then why did you ask if you already knew the answer?
I guess I was just joking. Or hoping.
This isn't a joke. Nothing about this is a joke.
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
No, you don't know.
No.
You don't understand? How could you possibly understand?
Jacob, calm down and talk to me.
Jacob, what's with this huge shift in emotions?
Mr. Kingston.
Please. Say my name again.
Jacob.
Jacob.
Danielle.
Oh, Mr. Kingston. I wasn't expecting you to still be here.
Today is my GF's birthday. I cannot read. I'm making her a chocolate mousse cake in a little bit. Cheers, everyone. I hope y'all are having a great Monday. I hope you have a great Monday. Happy birthday to your girlfriend.
I thought it worked late, you know.
This is how you're gonna talk to her later. Say my name again.
How's it going, guys? So I've been getting a lot of questions about
Oh, is there a
this
cut
Iceman campaign that I've been doing. So I thought I'd come on here and basically answer.
Oh, Holland's dad is a comedian, actor, and radio host. But no one in the US knows him. So some people think Tom was discovered just because he could do the stunts. Well, I think we always need to remember that part too, right? Where it's like he had gymnastics training and all this, that, and whatever. And it's like, obviously there are people that aren't like super wealthy that are able to do some level of like gymnastics training. There are people that come out of struggling circumstances, but there's also like, you know, that should always be kind of a bit of a question. Like, hey, what were you doing before this? You could know I came from the dirt. I came from nothing. We lived by farms. We didn't have a farm though. It was like a suburb that was built in like the middle of farmland, so it was pretty cheap, but then they developed around it so that when we got moved out because the prices got raised. Gentrification. So when you see me playing Hawkeye next, don't be surprised.
Okay, cool. I'm back. So, Iceman and Bishop team up. Yay! When the law isn't enough, Ice is back with a brand new edition.
I feel like I'm just not remembering Iceman like at all. Maybe he was really corny like this and that was like his character. Like I'm trying to remember. I guess maybe. I think that was maybe Iceman's character. Maybe he's doing it justice.
No. Okay. Yeah, we should go. Okay, cool. I'm back.
I like the way he jumps into frame. Some great new shots. Send those to
Today
you send those to Marvel.
I'm here at the mall to get an Iceman comic book.
I just got on here not too long ago. What's going on with these clips? He's trying to be Iceman. He wants to be the new Iceman. Iceman wasn't cheesy. He was cool. See, I can't like remember his character, and I can't remember if it was like he was actually cool or if it was like he was trying to be cool and like they made fun of him for it or something. But if he was just actually cool, then yeah, this isn't you got to try a little bit more, buddy. These AI images are pretty dope though. All of these AI you as Iceman do go hard. I'll give you that. He's got a talent agency that represents him too. Keep clicking that. I just want to see it so bad, but it's got music. Oh, he does stand up too.
Pepe, I'm not gonna lie to you, every time you announce a name, all I can think is, not the gumdrop buttons! I've only been in one fight in my life. It was 2 weeks before freshman year of high school ended, and I almost made it the entire year without visiting the office, so I was like, darn. But what was dumb was this guy and I got...
Yo, bro, you killed with that fucking Shrek reference, but this material's going a little sideways.
While we were playing kickball in gym. And if fighting wasn't stupid enough, we were playing a game that was meant for 9-year-olds.
This is like a bit you tell on a podcast and not in front of an audience.
But the fight began because this guy got an out for our team. Now, a bit of background about this guy is this disturbed individual was your classic redneck bully, cowboy, sorry. And I didn't take this into account when I did what I'm about to tell you I did. He got an out for our team. I went up behind him and I started humping him. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't do that. No, but I went up behind him and I said, "Hey man, why'd you do that, man? You got an out for our team." And this guy shoves me off him. And he called me an offensive term for homosexual people that I'm choosing not to repeat. But it does rhyme with maggot.
Woke king.
I will replace this word with fruitcake. Okay. So he shoves me off him, and he says, "Get the fuck off me, you fruitcake!" Doesn't have the same effect as the maggot word, does it? But anyway, and I said, "Whoa, man, okay." And then he gets in my face, right? So he shoves me a second time. And he says, "If your fruitcake ass touches me again, I will kill you." No idea why he was convinced that I was, because, you know, all I was in theater and swim, so no way he thought I was gay, right? I wasn't very popular in high school, guys, so that, me and my male testosterone and stupidity, I decided to shove him back, and immediately after, I turned into the biggest pussy. And I said, "Okay, now we both got some shoves in, so it's been so much fun. Let's get going." He gets in my face, gets this close to my face, and he says,
"Boo this man off stage already." They're really trying to hear him out. They're saying, "We're waiting for this punchline. It's gonna hit." Like I'm telling you, this isn't a joke. This is just a story.
"If you touch me again, I'm going to punch you in the face." Now, guys, this is...
I wish he wasn't looking at his notes so much. It doesn't seem like he's using them at all. This is written out word for word.
One of the dumbest and funniest decisions I ever made. He was this close to my face, right? And I decided to go... How's it going, everybody?
That was it.
So... I had a pretty disappointing high school experience, and I know what you're thinking, what, you do open mics for free, what do you mean? Like, yeah, it's true though, I promise. So I had two very memorable teachers in high school. One absolutely hated me, the other liked me a little too much, if you know what I mean. So the first teacher, we'll get into that. She gave me detention for whistling. 30 minutes! That's all it took. That's just...
Well, if you were whistling like that, then I'd give you detention too. The shoddy attempt at whistling. Here, let me see. Give me a second. Give me a second. Gotta wet the whistle. That was pretty good. Any dogs nearby totally just lit up. doesn't like it. He's mad. I was gonna try and do the cat call whistle, but I couldn't. I'm too woke. My body didn't allow it.
I wasn't fighting. I wasn't cheating on a test. I was just whistling the theme from Steamboat Arabia, or Steamboat Willie. 40 minutes! And she had that thing that I like to call a teacher walk. You know those teachers that have like a big caboose and they walk like this, like. The most hilarious.
He's like seconds away from stool humping. He's got one available to him too.
This part was when she had to get between people's desks. So I'm gonna use the front row as an example. Just. Is this math class or is it a strip show? Like, I brought my notes. I didn't bring my singles, so. Yeah, she didn't teach algebra. She taught consequences. She was the only grown woman that made me cry when I was 16, besides my mother. So now for the second teacher, art class. Smelled of paint and desperation. So this woman.
He also keeps like fucking breathing into the mic super hard.
Usually in her 60s, older woman. It wasn't Phyllis, I promise. Love you, Phyllis. So yeah, she's this woman. She definitely saw Steamboat Willie in theaters. So imagine you're at your desk, right? You're drawing and or painting, and all of a sudden you feel some crunchy hands on your shoulders. Oh God. So she would always come up to me, and it was always just me, and just start massaging my shoulders while I drew. Oh yeah. And then she'd give me
I can see these people off to the side that are not entertained.
affirmations while I drew, like the bowl of fruit. Express yourself.
I was okay with the gay jokes, but I won't stand for this art teacher slander. I feel like art teachers are either hit or miss. You either have a really good art teacher or a really bad one. In this case, he had a really bad one. Interesting case. I was hoping this was a part 3, but we lucked out and it wasn't. The fuck is this? It's opening night for Frankenstein. Get your tickets now. There are less than 20 seats. Is he Frankenstein? No, he's not, I don't think. I'm Frankenstein. My lines are... Those are my lines. I'm an art teacher. Fair. Gotta stick up. You gotta stick up for your own. Especially against the likes of Nick Rogers.
Ah! Come on! Show me what an Omega level mutant can do!
That one's my favorite. Show me what an Omega level mutant can do. Legendary. And this had 3 likes. This was meant just for me.
Don't fucking trust people that stutter. If they fucking stutter, yeah, they're obviously telling you lies, and they don't know half of the shit that they're even thinking. Yeah, there's no wisdom. Yeah, because the God part is missing, then it fucking skips all the time. They gotta hold their hands together to keep the connection. Wonder who that fucker reminds you of. Fucking government.
He's right. Flipping the script. You hear someone stutter? Don't listen to them, because they're clearly lying to themselves and to you. That's why I never stutter. Ever. Don't look back at my streams. Don't listen too closely while I speak. But let's continue. That was the Instagram stuff I have for today. And now we move on. I think we're going to do Bodycam Bingo first. We're going to get through 1, maybe 2 today. And then we're going to check out this video by Atten Shea Films about Matt Walsh. But I do have a Bodycam Bingo Baker board thing that I can share with everybody. So I copy it, and then I paste it here. Just a little ableism for Captain's Feed. This isn't talking about people with a stutter. This is talking about people that stutter. You know what I mean? There's a difference. If they have an innate stutter, it's like not the same thing. But here is the bingo board. I'm sharing it in chat. And the first one we have for the day. And I'm going to have mine off to the side here, playing alongside, and then I'll pull it up when I notice things. Let me pin this real quick as well. Whoa, it's Alex. Hello, Alex. Welcome in. But this was really interesting to me. 78-year-old turns a birthday party into a murder scene. Absolutely insane. This guy is incredibly insane. I need to look through here again. What do we have? So we have some different options here for Bodycam Bingo. We have car chase. I need to use the bathroom. Fighting, wrestling, immediate contradictions. Drunk as a skunk. Backup arrives. And backup arrives is a special one because it can mean backup for the officer or backup for the person getting arrested. High as a kite. Backseat breakdown. Sorry, I should show these. Backseat breakdown. Biting. Cop injury. Endless screaming. Lied about identity. A free space. Hospital visit. I know my rights. Taser. Sudden aggression. Do you know who I am? Trying to bargain. Canine. Failed to de-escalate. We got a runner. I didn't do anything. Spitting. Late apology. And there are a few others that I added in as well. I think there's 5 extra ones that can be thrown in. So if you get a bingo, you can share it in the Discord. And we can see if anyone wins. He's not even fictional. He's a real human. What's up with that? Alex the Liar? Who'da thunk? Who'da thunk? But yes, this is 78-year-old turns a birthday party into a murder scene from Iwu Bodycam.
If you're an you're that guy was an Wow. But I certainly did not run over him on purpose.
A man is left fighting for his life after being struck by a truck at a birthday party, leaving police to determine whether it was a tragic accident.
Is that an immediate contradiction? Not really. It's like I feel like it's a contradiction, but not necessarily like it's implicit, not explicit. Because he's calling the guy an asshole. He's basically saying, I didn't hit him on purpose, but he deserved it. Which is it might be crazier.
Or something more deliberate.
I'm in charge. I'm the baddest in Washington County. Now I'll shut the up and you ask me questions.
The following is based on official police records released to date, and the footage has never been seen before until now. In the early evening of May 10, 2025, officers from the League City, Texas Police Department responded to an accident call at a neighborhood park, where paramedics already on scene are treating a gravely injured man.
Hey, sir, what's your name? What's that?
The injured man is Donald Corvette Davis, a 72-year-old.
They put the arrow like directly onto his nipple.
Local resident.
Oh, he was another old man too. He was a 78-year-old ran over a 72-year-old. I wonder if this is old beef or if this was just a coincidence that it was 2 old guys.
Yeah? Do you know what happened to you? Could you tell me?
With Corvette too weak to explain what happened, officers began working to determine how and why.
A man named Corvette got run over. There's a bit of irony there. He did pass away, so I won't lean on it for too long, but I did need to point it out.
Something like this could occur.
You got these acceleration marks right here, or braking marks. I don't know if it was this truck that... See him right here in the back? I don't know if that's what hit him.
They turned their attention to a Ford F-150 parked on the grass nearby, and the man still seated behind the wheel. 78-year-old Vietnam veteran and former League City resident, Ted Castle.
I'm the one who ran over him.
You're the one who ran over him?
Yeah. My foot slips off the brake sometimes in this truck.
What were you doing out here?
Came from my friend's...
Probably shouldn't have that truck then. You probably shouldn't have your license if your foot's slipping off of the brake and running people over.
birthday party.
Okay. And is he here for the same party?
I don't even know who the that is.
He has a broken hip, and a femur, and a degloved right hand. So like all the skin like here like peeled back.
Both men came to the park to attend the 95th birthday party of a mutual friend, known locally as Dub.
You guys did this at Dub's birthday? Oh my god, this is old beef. Dub was just trying to have his 98th birthday or whatever. He wants to die in peace. You guys got to keep just fucking it up.
As Ted continues speaking with officers, he describes prior incidents in which he says his foot slipped from the brake onto the accelerator, suggesting something similar occurred today.
I was at my fish place north of Brenham buying some fish for my pond. I was getting ready to park. My foot slipped off the brake and I hit another truck head on, okay? Now, here's a picture.
Is he just trying to be like, look, I get into accidents in my truck all the time. This is a normal thing that happens. What's the issue?
Of the second time. When I hit the Goodwill store.
You ran into a Goodwill?
Okay.
See the bumper?
Yes, sir.
That's that same bumper. It was caved in 16 inches.
Oh, did he say he needs to use the bathroom? I didn't hear him.
Ready to park, my foot slipped off the brake and I hit another truck head on, okay? Now, here's a picture of the second time. When I hit the Goodwill store.
Yes.
I'm going to take your word that he said that, so I just must have missed it. I need to use the bathroom. It's a good way to get out of things. I always wonder, the cops should just let him. Because what do they think? Oh, he doesn't say it yet? He will need to use the bathroom.
So he's got a handprint there right on the front bumper. Yeah, that could be him. Yeah. That could be what degloved his hand, right? Because that possibly a right hand, maybe?
That is a hand.
If you're an you're an that guy was an
Correction, you can't be.
I certainly did not run over him on purpose. I can guarantee you that. That was an accident.
Ted goes on to tell officers that he was the first one to arrive for the party and pulled onto the grass because he has difficulty walking. With his pickup being the only vehicle there, it didn't take long for a local to notice.
When he first got here, he circled around and parked there, and that's what I told him you really shouldn't. So he went off and said, I lived here for 30 years, I can do whatever I want, et cetera, et cetera. And I just told him, I said, if people see your car there, they're going to think they can park there. From the parking lot.
Right.
Expletive, and I just walked away. Then I went back to my house, and then as soon as I sat down, Corvette called me and said, what's the deal with the truck at the park? I explained him what happened, and I didn't think he was going to come down here, but apparently he did, probably confronted the guy.
Guests continue to arrive for the celebration, despite the park having been transformed into an active crime.
Wait, now I need to run that back a little bit. I'm a little confused.
Expletive, and I just walked away. Then I went back to my house, and then as soon as I sat down, Corvette called me and said, what's the deal with the truck at the park?
Corvette called him. Did he say that he sent? I'm so confused as to how Corvette got this information. He said he was there for the party, but he hadn't been there yet. That's very odd. I would not want two old men to be arguing, because I know that they'll probably end up fighting, and one of them or both will die. Even if a car isn't involved, if two old men are fighting, like, there's a very good chance that one of them ends up dying.
But apparently he did probably confront the guy.
Guests continue to arrive for the celebration, despite the park having been transformed into an active crime scene.
Can you believe this? People just keep showing up.
No, just like this.
I had the food for the birthday party.
So we were saying.
Someone, we got the food.
As Corvette is rushed to the hospital fighting for his life, Ted takes the opportunity to tell the officers a little bit about himself.
Yellow's my color, right? I own this Jeep. I bought it because it was yellow. It's a 1988. Looks like a pretty fun Jeep, huh?
Yes, sir.
It's more than just fun, it's kicking. I'm just telling you a little bit about who the I am.
I'm listening.
I'm not trying to bore you.
Not boring me.
Good. And I guess I can show you some more yellow vehicles.
But as officers continue processing the scene, Ted becomes increasingly irritated by the inconvenience the investigation is becoming for him.
I want my wallet out of my truck. I don't even know where it is for sure.
Okay.
I'm not leaving without it.
My grandpa died from sneezing. If that's true, I'm sorry to laugh, but that's exactly what I mean. It just happens. They just go.
You get that wallet.
Well, somebody get over there and get it. How many cops you got?
You know,
here?
maybe he was jealous. He has all these yellow vehicles. He's like, he's mad that there was a man named Corvette.
18 cops and nobody's helping me do a thing. I gotta piss and nobody's helping me do that. What the is wrong with you guys?
Well, there were written statements. We're also
How
working
long does it take?
But at least
I'm losing my temper. You don't want me to lose my temper.
No, I don't.
My attorney will not appreciate that. You guys got nuts.
Who's your attorney?
None of your business. None of your business.
Okay.
But by God, when he shows up, you'll recognize who he is. And you better not arrest me. If you do, you'll be making the biggest mistake of your life. Hey, come here. Get over here.
All right.
I gotta piss right now.
Okay.
So figure it out, or I'm gonna piss right. I'll stand up and piss right here. I'm gonna piss by my truck or by this table.
You're not gonna piss by either of those.
You're starting to piss me off already. Don't tell me what I can and can't do.
He needs to go to the bathroom. I need to use the bathroom. That's an I need to use a bathroom if I've ever heard one. I don't know if we're going to get many of these here just because this is an old man. We might get some biting. Backseat breakdown we might get. But this one is low stakes, I will say, for the officers.
You can't piss out here. You can't pull your out and piss. You can't do that.
You guys, your brains aren't working very well, especially his. I want a new.
Yeah, our brains are the ones that aren't working too well. You're so right. You're so right there, pal. I already forgot what your name is. All I'm remembering is never mind, I forgot all their names. What was the other guy? Dub? Whose birthday was it? Gup? What was their names?
Detective.
I don't know, sir. He's a very good detective.
We'll see. So far, he's not impressed me. Okay?
Sorry to hear that, Trent.
Good. I want to piss right now. If I wet my pants, you guys are going to be in trouble.
Well, sir, we've asked you to go with us to the porta potty.
Where in the is it?
It's just right behind your truck. It's literally
Let's go over
10
there.
feet away from your truck.
Let's go do it.
All right.
Don't with me. Get out of my way. I got to have room.
No, that's fine. I'm not.
My balance sucks.
That's fine.
Move out of my way.
I got to stay close.
Back up.
He needed that rage. See, he needed to get his adrenaline back up so he could stand up himself.
Hey, no, sir.
You.
No.
You.
Do not get that.
I'm taking this cane.
If you can't walk without it, you can walk with it. But if you hit me with it, I'm going to have to take it away from you.
I'm not hitting you with it.
Let's walk over there.
I'm pissed off. I'm going to go piss right now.
Hey.
Don't touch me.
Get close.
No,
Get
we're walking to the latrine.
Get this away
We're walking
from
to the
me.
latrine. Hey,
I said don't touch me.
Hold on, sir.
Hey, I'm just sticking it. It's okay. Just, hey, you want to take a piss? We'll go take a piss. Look, I'll get him away from you.
Get this away from me.
Why do you set Phil up so much? He's a veteran. You need to respect him.
Dude, that guy's been pissed off since he got here.
He's not helping.
And he
Chill out, bro. He's a veteran. He's fine. He's a veteran.
He's got the itis. He's in there flushing drugs.
Officers
He's in there
transport Ted to the
flushing
police
drugs.
department, where he shares some personal details about the birthday boy, Dub.
His wife died 2 years ago.
Gotcha.
Now he's dating 60-year-old women.
Wow.
You know what I asked him the other day?
What's that?
Dub, when's the last time you ate? His answer was this: 2 years. So when was the last time you ate?
Well, that's between me and my wife.
No, that's good though.
Yeah, it's between me and her.
All right.
As the conversation continues, Ted makes clear how he wants it to proceed.
You know what my IQ is?
No, I don't, but I love
147.
That's pretty high.
That's better than pretty high.
That's really high. Let me say
So don't
that.
try to mentally with me because it won't work.
See, that's got to be like the worst thing for like an intelligent person with a high level of arrogance. Growing old really does just have to be hell. Cuz yeah, it's like your mental capacity, like all your faculties just start to go. Everything just ends up mush by the end. So when you were like the spry young guy with, you know, all the ideas that was able to get over on people, and then all of a sudden you have to let other people take care of you. It can definitely make you aggravated, but hey, I guess if the goal is to just die sooner, then keep the blood pressure up.
Okay, I'm just laying the ground rules.
And I can tell you, I am, and Detective Bell can access, I'm not a guy that's gonna, I'm not a guy that's gonna, blow smoke up. Okay?
Good.
I'm gonna pretty much tell
Because
you
if you
straight
do, you'll regret it. Now I'll shut the up and you ask me questions.
When detectives ask Ted if he drove to League City for the party by himself, he tells them he had a companion along for the ride, his friend and housemate, Dennis.
His life sucks.
But then are you saying your penis is small? Now, obviously, they're two vastly different sizes, but it's just like, just a weird thing to say. We're back? Oh, no.
Of 147, which I understand and I'm getting used to. And I'm getting a lot better getting along with him.
Okay.
But sometimes I still holler at him.
Oh, he goes off. He goes off. I mean, look, you see that? Mm-hmm. He hit me with his cane earlier today.
Dennis tells officers that he and Ted arrived at Dub's house before the party, where Ted became angry after Dennis opened the truck door to cool off and ordered him to walk to the park. Ted then drove there alone, arriving shortly before the other guests.
The golf cart rolled in with Dub and his son and Dennis.
Okay.
The guy who was with me who I kicked out of my truck because he was being a jerk.
Earlier, while still at the scene, Ted offered his version of what happened next.
And then that whoever that guy is over there, he took to the hospital, came over and jumped in my
Jumped in your truck?
No, in my standing in front of my truck, cussing at me, saying I had a lot of balls parking in the park.
Okay.
So I told him to get. I say that word a lot. It's one of my favorite words.
That's fine.
Nobody with me ever. I've lost 70 pounds in the last 4 years. I weighed 230 to 240 pounds for 5 decades. I can bench press 300 pounds. I'm a football player. I'm a physical, fit, bad. Okay?
I get it. Yes, sir. I get it. So what happened?
He started bad mouthing me, and I pulled that pistol out and showed it to him through my windshield. I said, "You'd be better off if you just left."
Did you think he was gonna hurt you?
I didn't give a. He wasn't going to get a chance. Nobody. Period.
No, I understand that, but I'm asking.
He's just straight up admitting, I didn't give a shit if he threatened me or anything. I was threatening him with my gun.
Don't ask silly questions.
My question is, did you feel threatened? Was he doing something to make you feel threatened?
I wasn't threatened, I was pissed off.
Did your friend say anything to you?
No, nobody said a
I was so mad that I used my gun to threaten him, and then I hit him with my car and killed him. What aren't you understanding? He's being very honest, at least. The sad part is because he's so old, it's not like he'll actually get any prison time or anything.
Maniac. I am a maniac. I'm in charge. I'm the baddest in Washington County. Nobody with me, ever. Nobody's with me for 78 years, and some little mouthy who thinks he's gonna with me can get.
Ted goes on to explain that the pistol seemed to scare away Corvette, but he returned only a short time later.
And so at that point, Ted realizes he's on his phone calling the police. He yells at me, "Dan, come on, get in the truck. I'm not leaving you here." So I walk over there and
They did bring back YouTube messaging. Ooh, I don't like that. YouTube messaging is not it. I don't like that.
Get in the front of the truck. He said, "No, get in the back." And so he steers toward the guy and kind of gooses it toward him. And I said, "No, come on, don't." And it was like, it's like he wasn't going fast. It was just going slow. And then all of a sudden, it went quick. All of a sudden, it just went quick. I don't think that was the.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it was deliberate. It sounds like he was just trying to threaten the guy, but then doesn't really give a shit that he hit him and killed him. That basically sounds like what it is.
Deliberate. Because, like I said, he had all his toes cut off on one foot. He has a hard time.
While Dennis's account appears to support Ted's claim that the collision was accidental, Dub provides investigators with information that contradicts both accounts and drastically changes the course of the investigation.
Well, why did it happen? Do we know why?
Ted said he's gonna run his over.
Ted said he was going to run his over.
However, when detectives asked Ted,
Dub's a good U.S. vet. He said, I ain't gonna lie to an officer. He said he was gonna run him over. I saw it right there. It happened. He was in his big truck waving his gun around. And now we're having a birthday.
about the remark, he offers a different interpretation of his statement.
Actually, what I said, jokingly, I said to these people in the golf cart, and they may have already told you all this, and you're trying to get me to tell you, and I'm going to tell you the truth. I told them, I said, where's that ignorant? I'm going to run him over with my truck.
Okay.
I said that. I was joking. I say a lot of things that are not serious.
Okay.
But I did say it.
Okay.
Okay? They don't know me. They don't know whether I'm joking or not.
Your friends that you've known for 40 years?
I haven't seen him. I haven't lived here in 15 years.
Okay.
Okay? Even though he was an he certainly didn't deserve what he got.
Okay.
But what he got was an accident, not something I did on purpose.
Did you ask anyone if he was okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Of course I did. I'm asking you, how's he doing right now?
Right now he's in the hospital.
Okay, so how's he doing?
I'm not sure of his status.
Well, let's call and find out.
So let me go check on it.
Yes, sir, please. Thank you.
See, he is a smart guy. He's starting to realize, I think he was starting to realize that this isn't going to end in his favor, especially with all the stuff that he said. His emotions got the best of him with all of his statements as well. Based on all the evidence of everything I've seen so far, it doesn't seem like he was doing it intentionally. It does seem like he was trying to threaten him and then ended up hitting him with his car. But all things considered, I think that, what happened, happened. What was said. And, even if you didn't mean to follow through, you did. So, it's like pointing a gun at somebody and being like, I didn't mean to pull the trigger. Okay.
Do you guys have anything to drink today?
He did. He had 2 drinks. He started to have a drink right there at Dove's, but then he ended up leaving with that. And I believe while he was at the park, he drank 2 of them because right after that accident, he had me take 2 beers out, throw them in the trash can before you got the
Disposal of evidence. I should add that to the bingo card. I don't think that one is on there. You know, if I wanted to, I could be like we could be a little bit cheesy. We could cheese it and be like, he's high as a kite because he's on medication because he's an old man. Sudden aggression because the guy just kept yelling all the time, or endless screaming. But I don't know. This one really was kind of more mellow. This one involved a death, and somehow this was one of the most mellow body cams I've seen.
the police department came in after he had run over that guy.
As witness statements and Ted's own remarks continue to shape the...
No, yeah, he's just spamming every nice word he can think of. Yes, sir, please, thank you. Horrific thing that happened. I hope he's doing well. Send him my best wishes and blessings to his family. Drunk? Not as a skunk, probably, yeah.
The investigation, a significant development comes in that dramatically raises the stakes of the case.
Remember I told you that, I don't blow smoke up. I'm going to tell you straight when you tell you straight, right? You respect that.
Sure, I remember.
Okay, so a couple things.
Okay.
One, it is against the law to pull your gun out and wave it at somebody and attempt to threaten them or scare him.
It's called brandishing.
Okay, we're going to change the law. Go ahead.
As it sits now, that is against the law.
That's not the problem. Go ahead.
Second is he's dead. So
okay, that's the problem.
You are going to
he'll probably just get compassionate release because he's old. Yeah, that's what I was saying is I don't think because he's so old, even with like maximum charges, I don't think that they would do a whole lot. Like at most, like maybe they put him in like a house arrest scenario or something, but I doubt it.
Charged today with homicide, with murder.
Okay.
Okay, you are going to be taken into custody. We're going to take you downstairs in just a few minutes and book you into jail.
Okay.
Okay. You right now, as it sits,
maybe
you have a $250,000.
Maybe they throw him in. He's only 78. They say, you know what? Fuck it. Throw him to Gin Pop.
Bond.
Okay.
Okay. That's how it sits right now. Is there any questions that you have for me?
No.
Okay.
Other than I need something to eat.
According to court documents, Ted later requested a court-appointed attorney. No court would ever get the chance to decide whether Ted Castle intentionally killed Donald Corvette Davis. According to court records, Ted died before the case could go to trial, resulting in the charges against...
Of course he did.
...him being dismissed. Watch our full videos as they...
He had to make one final move before going out, kicking the bucket. Crazy. I guess he was 78, right? What do you expect? I was thinking of doing one more, but I think on Wednesday we'll just do more body cam bingo, and we'll just do like maybe a whole stream of body cam bingo, and I'll pick out some really good ones. That one was kind of all right. We only really got one on there, but I do like playing body cam bingo. It's one of my faves, but I do want to check out this new video by Atten Shea. Atten Shea Films. Matt Walsh hates indigenous people. Very interesting. I'm not surprised, obviously, but I'm interesting nonetheless. He said he was healthy earlier. Is that lying about identity? He's too old. Like the case, we just have to throw the bingo card out. He died. It's not worth it. Oh. Apparently, AP News, at some point, they were supposed to do it already. Oh, it did already go. the hearing of the case of Tyler Robinson, the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk. You there? Or is it just his counsel?
Under Utah law, this does not establish a basis to require live testimony at a preliminary hearing. And how quickly this month is passing. Let's see. Availability.
That was weird. My chat just jumped all crazy. Sorry. The Charlie Kirk thing was weird. Dude, I'm also sorry. I was looking at this too. This Charlie Kirk thing. All of their chat. I was like, my chat jumped. Like it glitched for a second. I don't think it glitched for you guys, but it glitched for a second while I was looking at the Charlie Kirk chat, and I was like, what is happening? Because they're talking about Israel and CIA and all this stuff. But we're good. We don't need to look at that. But this is Matt Walsh Hates Indigenous People by Atten Shea Films. Let's check it out.
The secret to a great cocktail on a hot summer day, a little bit of Italian ice. Just drop it right fucking in there. You will thank me later. That's a good cocktail. It's gonna be probably the only good thing about my evening, because I am watching Matt Walsh's new documentary, which is now called What Schools Don't Teach You About American Indians. It was called something else, but it wasn't getting any views, so he changed the title.
You saw it glitch? The CIA got us. Oh no. It's the Mossad. No.
Drop it.
My neighbors are going to think I'm crazy.
Right fucking in there. You will thank me later. That's a good cocktail. It's going to be probably the only good thing about my evening, because I am watching Matt Walsh's new documentary, which is now called What Schools Don't Teach You About American Indians. It was called something else, but it wasn't getting any views, so he changed the title. So one thing I want to dispel just right away is the idea that this documentary is in any way a good faith attempt to educate the public about history. The Daily Wire, the billion-dollar production company that Matt Walsh works for, was initially funded by seed money from fossil fuel executives. The reason it exists is to spread culture war nonsense to divide the working class from realizing what these executives are doing to our communities and our planet. And as long as we're squabbling among ourselves, then we can't, take care of them. Matt Walsh is, I think, doing this knowingly. And even if he is just some sort of useful idiot, he is still taking millions of dollars of billionaire Epstein-class money to spread these racist, untrue, anti-intellectual.
I think Matt Walsh both knows what he's doing and is a useful idiot. It's like both of those things at once somehow.
Intellectual narratives. And considering especially that the fossil fuel industry is the primary cause of climate catastrophe and Earth's sixth mass extinction that's currently ongoing, I think you could make a very good argument that Matt Walsh is committing crimes against humanity. Personally, I think that he should be arrested for those crimes and thrown in prison. Now, when I said that in my last video, a number of you went into the comments to complain about how I was illiberal because I said that Matt Walsh belongs in prison just for free speech, man. Well, free speech kind of has limits though, right? And I'm not talking about saying something racist and getting fired. I'm talking about screaming fire in a crowded theater. And there's also a difference between holding these opinions privately and undertaking a highly financed, targeted disinformation campaign designed to further the interests of the fossil fuel vampires who are actively killing us all, right? I think there's like a bit.
It's also just stupid to say like, why are you against free speech? Nobody's against free speech. We're just countering free speech with free speech and telling you how dumb and wrong that those other opinions are. Other opinions and stated incorrect facts.
Bit of a difference there. If we're talking about, you know, your sort of garden variety neo-Nazi just walking around in the world believing what he believes, I agree. I think that he should be able to do that. And in fact, I think he should be able to march up and down the street with his Nazi flag so he can let everybody know what a fucking idiot and an asshole he is. I mean, that's what it means to live in a free, pluralistic society. But at some point, when you were using the resources of corporate America, one of the biggest and most efficient and most elaborate.
See, I'm at like a crossroads, I guess, in my opinion on free speech, because I believe in free speech probably to one of the farthest extents, but I also just am under the opinion that like social or moral social and moral claims might not be the same as legal claims. And they might not necessarily, they might overlap in places and not be mutually exclusive. But like, while I think that you should be able to say whatever you want, I also don't think it's wrong morally if somebody were to like get violent to some extent in the opposition to certain uses of free speech. And again, the extent would matter, and the all of that would kind of be on some kind of sliding scale. But I also think that if you do something like that, even if I would think it's morally justifiable, I would still think that you should probably face the legal ramifications, where it's like, you know, if some guy's acting like a Nazi, I'd think it's good if somebody punched him, but I'd also think that that guy should be willing, the guy that punched him should be willing to go spend the night in jail and face the, you know, the minor assault charge or whatever it is. You know, the minor battery charge. I think you can get one as a misdemeanor. I don't think they're always a felony. It's always about the extent. But so I don't know, because I don't think that they're good things, and I don't think that they like should be spread. They're ideas that should be spread, but I guess they're ideas that should be allowed to be spread, but then definitely should be stopped.
Elaborate power structures that the world has ever seen, practically nations unto themselves, to spread misinformation that you know is going to harm people and is going to fucking wipe out most of the fucking life on this planet eventually, then it's not free speech, is it? It's a crime against humanity. Anyway, let's watch this stupid fucking Nazi documentary.
So we need to start with a central, critical, and load-bearing myth that supports all the others. The widespread belief that the Indians were peaceful. Nothing could be further from the truth. Since the end of World War II, American academics have pretended.
I mean, it's just stupid to believe that they were either entirely peaceful or entirely savage. Like any group of people throughout the entirety of history, it's complicated. And I think that you can't look at any one people through the context of another. Like, you have to, like, you know, understand it within its context.
That pre-modern humans lived in a
It's
state
also such a fucking already dog whistling, like, really what I would probably just be like white supremacist dog whistling, I would say. Because what you're saying is that non-European ways of life are not considered modern, even though they had like fully established like towns with trade routes and you know, cohabitated with other peoples, but any area, they had rise of kingdoms and falls across the Americas. Like it's very complex. Like if you look at it, because there's so many. I mean, I'm in Arizona. How many tribes are in Arizona? I'm pretty sure it's the most dense. Yeah, there's 22 federally recognized tribes in Arizona, and I think there's like over 300 across the U.S. Oh, there's 574 federally recognized, and that's not including all of the smaller minor tribes. And again, so to act as though they were all one people is also just it's ignorant, and would be ignorant to do the same if you're like talking about Europeans.
Peace. Academic dishonesty was so out of hand by the 1990s that, according to archaeologist Lawrence H. Keeley, the most widely used archaeological textbooks contained no mention of war before civilization.
How do you define civilization? Clearly,
that's also, I'd be interested to understand what that means. What?
Peace. Academic dishonesty was so out of hand by the 1990s that, according to archaeologist Lawrence H. Keeley, the most widely used archaeological textbooks contained no mention of war before civilization.
How do
Yeah, I'm just confused as to what that, because I mean, in general, I think that there has always been like a higher emphasis on like colonialization, like, colonization and colonialism, because it's like that's probably why they don't get into like the intricacies of like tribal warfare. But then also we don't necessarily have that much, like, aside from archaeological data, we don't have necessarily a lot of like main. The internet just hates me today. I don't know how much of that was heard, but basically all I was saying was I think colonization and colonialism is much more quote unquote important, or seen as important in a historical context, because it is the ground with which the United States and all of these other American countries are founded on. They aren't founded on the tribal warfare and wars that happened before that. And also, a lot of that ends up being lost to history because of the destruction of these different peoples. You'll never make me understand disliking someone just because of where they're from. It's so weird. Well, nowadays it's even more weird, because back then at least they could lie. Like they could just lie about things. Like acting like as though cannibalism was like a widespread normal thing across the indigenous Americas, when that isn't the case. And it was based on like the evidence available. It was probably about as common, or maybe slightly more common, than found in other places, like in Europe or in Asia or in Africa, where it was at times done ritualistically, but was more often than not done in like times of like hardship or struggle, with like different theories posited about like the need of protein source and like things like that, which again did also happen in Europe as well, when there were like famines and things like that. Is it disgusting and horrible? Yes. But it's also different than the way we understand cannibalism in a modern context of like people with like almost a fetishization of eating people, and like this psychology behind that.
clearly Walsh is defining it pretty myopically, simply as early modern and modern European society. And this is, I think, really dumb. Obviously, there's measurable differences between a society like the Native American nations of the Eastern Woodlands at the time of early colonization and, 21st century America. Obviously, there's sort of measurable differences, but there's also big differences.
With the way the economy is going, I blame cannibals less and less. The not creepy ones, I mean. Yeah, the good cannibals. Now that's a show I'd watch. There's you don't understand. No, it's ethically sourced people.
It's like definitional differences between, say, the Native American nations of the Eastern Woodlands at the time of colonization and, the British nations at the time of Roman colonization, right? Even though I think traditionally, way back, 19th, 20th century historiography, traditionally people have sort of viewed those cultures as in similar stages of development. History is not like a video game Age of Empires tech tree. You know what I mean? There's not sort of this predetermined kind of course of how societies develop. You look at sort of Eastern Woodlands indigenous people of pre-Roman Britain, even though they were both tribal, I think to kind of categorize them as sort of just Stone Age or primitive is a flattening of all sorts of the different sort of societal, hierarchical, social, economic, cultural sort of details and nuance.
Well, I mean, even geographical, literally the one of the biggest racist things people bring up is well, if people in Africa, why are they still living in huts? This dumb shit, not understanding the literal cities that there are in Africa, in different countries within Africa, but then also not understanding that the reason that different structures are built in different places is because of the climates and the weather, and because when you figure out a way of living that is sustainable, why would you necessarily completely alter that for no reasonable gain? And again, even going talking about the tribes, I forget what the what is it, the biggest Cahokia. Yes, Cahokia is now just mounds, but was at one time the largest indigenous city in the Americas. I forget where. Located in present-day Collinsville, Illinois, just east of St. Louis. The metropolis thrived between 1050 and 1350 Central or Common Era. What is going on with me? Current era? Common Era. It is Common Era. Why did I think Common Era was wrong? Anno Domini AD. But yes, what I do know is that this was the biggest city that they had, and it rose and fell before colonization, which is very interesting. And I forget the reasoning. I watched a whole documentary on it. I think part of it was because of supply, because it's you have supply and trade routes that they'd create, and then with the fall of those, you would then and then also when you have an increase of people, it's that demand increases. It's all supply and demand. The CIA is in my brain. You're right. I'm telling you, I said it at the beginning of the stream, they're coming for me physically, mentally, internetly. It's all going downhill.
Of those societies. It's just a very gross simplification.
Hollywood started portraying Indians as peaceful and noble. Dances with Wolves portrays, of all people, the Lakota Sioux as a peaceful, harmonious community living in balance with the land and the buffalo. The Powhatan in Pocahontas were peace-loving environmentalists who sang about living in harmony with nature.
So unfortunately, I think Walsh is jumping off of a very real historical grievance that many reasonable people, including myself, have. What I'll call the sort of ecological Indian myth. I made a whole video about it. It's the longest video on this channel. It's 2 hours long. Which, kind of portrays, I mean, we've all seen it in media, where it portrays Native Americans as being in harmony with the land, as being essentially these sort of cartoonish environmental stewards, these people with this sort of innate understanding of ecology and of non-human nature and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, all of that, yeah. To the extent that he's saying is kind of ridiculous, but I think that a lot of that was probably formed through like their religions and stuff, which do animism, is it? Yeah, a worldview that all things in nature, including animals, plants, rocks, rivers, and weather systems, possess a spiritual essence, consciousness, and personhood. There's a lot of animism within indigenous religions, and I think that ends up being a lot of the cause for this thought of them being like in tune with nature, when obviously it's just like kind of like anyone, it's you become more or less like accustomed to your surroundings and kind of able to work within that.
And I think that's essentialist and pretty racist. And again, it also kind of flattens the complexities of those societies. I mean, Native American nations definitely had a much more advanced conception of ecology than colonial societies did. They had very ingenious methods of conservation, which again, I think kind of complicates this whole like civilization versus primitivity binary that Walsh is presenting to us. Because like, I would argue that a society that brings cows and pigs into a landscape and lets them run wild and fells forests and to sell the lumber and basically and brings a bunch of invasive species and just like clears the landscape and clears everything in it and just fucking levels it so they can basically terraform, fucking Surrey and Suffolk and East Anglia onto an ecosystem that's already there. Like, I wouldn't call that civilized. I certainly wouldn't call that, whatever that means. I certainly wouldn't call
I'm sorry to say, but that quite literally is what civilized means. You could say that it's not good or it's improper or something, but I do think that it's we have to, there has to be a fluidity in a sense where you have to be able to at times understand when we need to like bend to nature and when we need to overcome nature. Because there are certain things where it's like, you remove like removing trees that then ruins the soil, or there's just certain things you can do that then ends up ruining the ecosystem, and we should be like stewards of the we should foster stewardship of people and stewardship of the land, but we also at times need to overcome the adversity and trials and tribulations that come with nature. And that is also like, again, what ended up being the fall of a lot of these different tribes in the Americas prior to colonization, where they would, rise and fall due to resource availability or at times tribal warfare. But a lot of the times it was literally just the accessibility to trade routes and issues with trade, which I think, again, goes to what he's saying against Matt Walsh's opinion of the kind of trying to hinge heavily on that savagery aspect.
Call that moral or intelligent. That said, indigenous people also had lots of differences. They could also be very destructive to their environment. I kind of shudder to think what Walsh is going to make of this. I think he's going to kind of use the legitimate examples of historical examples of Native Americans, kind of being ecologically reckless or kind of fucking up, and sort of not living up to that stereotype, and basically use that to portray them as, fucking bloodthirsty savages instead of the complicated human beings who they were and are.
According to the book War Before Civilization by archaeologist Lawrence H. Keeley, somewhere between 90 and 95% of known societies in all of human history were warlike. The less civilized you were, as a rule, the more violent you were. 2/3 of primitive societies were at constant war compared to 40% of civilized states. Now at this point you might say, but what about the peaceful tribes? Not all of them were at war. According to Keeley, those tribes are the exception that proves the rule. Some 96% of American Indian tribes engaged in warfare.
It is absolutely true that Native American nations were pretty much constantly at war with each other, as far as we know. Obviously, a lot of this information comes after colonization, where we kind of start to see written records. We see Europeans kind of going in and compiling a lot of this anthropological information. But at least in the eastern woodlands and throughout much of what is today the contiguous United States, this warfare was almost always low level. So it was defined by raid and counter-raid, by battles in which actually not a lot of people would actually be killed. And in fact, a lot of these nations had sort of...
I mean, literally, there's this really interesting video. I forget where it is. Is it New Zealand tribes? It's like somewhat modern footage, like from like the 80s or something. What was it? It was basically like these people shooting arrows back and forth, these two tribes shooting arrows back and forth. And I feel like it gave like a good example of what tribal warfare really looks like on that scale. Because you'd expect like, oh, they're going to run facing each other and run in and they're fighting. But a lot of the times it's literally just at a distance shooting arrows at each other. A few people get hit in the leg or in the side and they're wounded. And then they have to start retreating and then they pull back, and then it's like, it's much more complicated there. I'm going to try and find it. There's a New Guinea. It was Papua New Guinea. You can kind of tell from this. Oh, I forgot, like, they're all naked. Maybe I shouldn't show that. I mean, it's historical, though, right? It's, like, educational account. Go check it out. 1963, Papua New Guinea. They are totally, like, naked. I forgot that that's, like, how they're, they do it in their tribe.
These sort of ceremonial kind of aspects to warfare where, captives were sort of more important than sort of wiping out your enemy. Taking lots of captives and, enslaving people would be sort of a sign of like toughness, of honor, of sort of your own power. There was rarely kind of this genocidal intent that pervades so much of Eurasian warfare, before the industrial.
It wasn't conquest. It was about, again, like securing of resources. At times that conquest would be because of, like, we don't want you taking up our meat or our vegetables, whatever, We don't want you taking up our water resource, polluting it. You bring your animals and they shit in our river. Now we kill you. Or at least scare you off.
Industrial Revolution.
And again, I think that's like the difference is they would be at war, they would have battles, but I don't think that was necessarily the cause for a lot of the falls of their different tribes.
So just how savage were the Indians? We'll get into specific details of some
were savage.
of these raids, but for now we could focus on perhaps the most gruesome detail of all. Evidence of cannibalism among American Indian tribes. We know they were consumed because the assemblages of Disarticulated
Oh,
bones share a
yeah.
number of features: butchering cut marks, skulls broken, long bones smashed for marrow extraction, bones burned or otherwise cooked, and disposal with other kitchen refuse. One Colombian
And
chief.
again, there's like ritualistic purposes that were used. There were definitely sacrifices. There were definitely instances of cannibalism. But again, you can find this all across the world throughout history. And it was not as like widespread as they're trying to make it out to be.
Chief, quote, consumed the bodies of 100 enemies in a single day following a victory. In another chiefdom, war captives were kept in special enclosures and fattened before consumption. Many of these groups smoked or otherwise preserved human meat to be eaten later.
So basically what he's doing here is just a gish gallop of shocking scenes of indigenous violence against settlers. There was quite a lot of indigenous violence against settlers. No one reasonable denies that. But this is an age-old colonial propaganda tactic. By focusing on the most shocking, the most depraved, the most...
Yeah, then capitalism and industry fixed everything. Exactly. We just snuffed it all out and implemented capitalism.
Brutal kind of example of these interactions and of the sort of warfare between these people, it essentially justifies indigenous people's subjugation, right? It's not a complete picture of these people and these cultures. You could maybe argue that he's sort of like trying to go the other direction or kind of correct the narrative. But again, what you have to remember is that this is not a good faith attempt to educate. This is racist propaganda designed to make you hate indigenous people, to play to your worst impulses. And the goal is, of course, to further the interests of fossil fuel companies who would like nothing more than for, land defenders and various indigenous nations to get the fuck off their land so they could build a fucking pipeline through it or whatever the fuck. That's what's going on here. So the focus on indigenous cannibalism is also very old, very tired. I've made several videos about this. Basically, when colonized people, commit cannibalism, essentially what this does psychologically in the mind of the colonizer is it lessens, it puts those colonized people sort of below the threshold of humanity. And
which is funny too, because it only really does that in like a modern context, and to like it's not for the colonizers to like justify it to themselves. It's for them to justify to the masses. Because they just engage in like the barbaric behavior that they act as though they hate. And not necessarily talking about instances of cannibalism, but like the one I can think about more directly is like scalp bounties, like collecting scalps. Like that was a thing that was done by indigenous people, and was done, again, like there was ritualistic purpose. It was done like to show that you're a warrior and to confirm your kills and like stuff like that. But it became then like almost like a commodification through the like the colonization, where they would have they would pay people per scalp, and then sometimes that would end up with people going and like just killing anybody, being like kill some Spanish guy because he's dark enough so we can make it work and pass it off. But yeah.
Into the realm of animality, right? It animalizes them. And animals in the colonial perception are acceptable targets of violence. There was cannibalism, sure, in some indigenous societies, not that much, certainly not like what he's sort of implying here. And, I hate to use whataboutism.
And again, in like the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and probably thousands of tribes across all the Americas, like we are specifically focusing in on all the ones that do, or that have, not on the countless number that haven't. Captain, when are you going to do when are you going to do a mukbang? I need to now that they're on break. I need to fill my time. Need to make sure these streams are packed, loaded. Just need to think of what would be a good mukbang. 24-inch pizza challenge?
I will just this one time, just because, it's not a... I personally, I don't judge anybody for a little bit of cannibalism, so, whatever. It's no skin off my back.
Well, it might be
that
some skin off your back when the cannibals find you. I'm just saying.
Europeans, at the time that he's speaking of, had an extensive cottage industry of medical cannibalism. Ground up mummies and human bones were sold widely as medical cures. So
yeah, that was a thing in Europe. I get what he's trying to do, but I don't know if that would necessarily. I don't think the hype would live up to somebody who's trying to reinforce their bigotry. But that was for medicinal purposes. I could see them trying to justify that. You don't understand. Those were good times when you can ingest people.
One could just as easily be like, oh, these fucking white people grinding up mummies and sniffing them for, syphilis or whatever the fuck. It's just that wouldn't be a very complete picture of European society in the early modern era, would it? This is, again, just such a flattening of these cultures and this people. It's such a one-dimensional portrayal. It would be like describing the Norse just as brutal, bloodthirsty pirates. I mean, they were also poets and farmers and great sailors and explorers. There was so much more to that culture. And it's such a fucking travesty. It's such a fucking injustice that he's fucking doing this fucking stupid shit.
It's clear that the Indians were very violent, engaging in raids on one another.
Yeah, I was gonna say Norse. He almost was doing it too, because I thought so. I'm pretty sure Norse people weren't just Vikings either. There were people that lived more inland or whatever that were affected by raids and stuff of Vikings, but they weren't even necessarily sailors. They were also just people. We need to remember that. There's always the extremists, you know what I mean?
Another, murdering women and children, burning entire villages, committing genocide, in some cases eating each other, which brings us to our next myth. One common myth perpetuated by historians is that the American Indians only became violent after exposure to Europeans.
So obviously colonialism disrupted the indigenous...
That's so stupid. I'm 25 years old, so I'm assuming I was raised in the modern era of historical whatever, at least somewhat. And I don't think that I was indoctrinated to believe that Native Americans are just super peaceful, all loving. What? What are you talking about? It's complicated.
Economy. It disrupted indigenous foodways. It made...
who in their right mind would think that it was only after colonization that Native Americans became violent? Obviously, they had instances of violence before that, but it's hearing Joe Rogan talk about whoa, isn't it so crazy? The Comanche would ride horseback, and they were known for taking out different tribes, and they were feared because of their nomadic style. And the whole thing is yeah, that's interesting, but then you have to remember that the only reason Comanche even had horses was because of them being brought over by the Spanish. So it's you know what I mean? All of this stuff is super complicated. Very much. It's the only reason they started riding, they rode horses. Come on. And yeah, so it's were there peoples that had... It's not saying that it was the cause, but that it was an amplification of those, again, in the same way that they were trying to find justifications to the destruction of the native people, the Europeans and in colonization, it was done in the contrary as well, where they would then see not just the men coming with guns, but then also their families and the people around as justifiable targets as well.
Indigenous people
And it's
much
hard to
more
argue.
materially uncertain. So yes, obviously it increased violence. That is what happens in times of material uncertainty, is there is increased violence. There's increased competition for resources. This is like History 101. Do you understand me? This is like very fucking basic shit. So what happens when Europeans arrive on the eastern seaboard of this continent is they bring with them a bunch of trade goods. Now, in the Eastern Woodlands, indigenous society, trade goods are so important. This is a nomadic society. Trade goods.
Every indigenous person I know is really, really nice. Other than one of my exes who flipped me 10 times in his car, but that one doesn't count. Well, here's my whole point: is like there's good people and there's bad people, like any group. It's like there's always going to be good people and bad people in this attempt to like create a monolith of any group is just ridiculous.
Goods that you can carry with you, especially like ornamentation. This is a sign of status, much more so than like land or owning animals or anything that really mattered to Europeans at the time. So when Europeans show up with these amazing items, of course, these indigenous people immediately want them and immediately start trading for them. So there becomes this very strong incentive for indigenous societies to buy into the European market economy. And once that domino falls, then Europeans can basically dictate the terms of these interactions, right? You see this specifically with the fur trade. Unbelievably disruptive to, basically the entire continent of North America, where you have Europeans demanding that indigenous people find them beaver pelts so that, to continue the trade of these items that are so high status now in indigenous society, as well as specifically sort of weaponry, specifically firearms, which very, very quickly, like almost as soon as there are populous colonies on the eastern seaboard of North America, become a necessity for national sovereignty for indigenous people. Once indigenous people become dependent on the European market economy, then everything changes. Everything changes. Pre-colonial polities of North America go the way of the dodo. New confederacies, new nations, new coalitions of indigenous people come together. I mean, by the time of the American Revolution, basically every organized political kind of nation or society or band or tribe or whatever you want to call it is post-colonial. So it is utterly ignorant. It is like shockingly fucking stupid to argue that there was any kind of continuity in indigenous society before colonization and after it. And yes, absolutely, indigenous society became much more violent after colonization, both to Europeans and to each other. That is unquestionable.
Almost all new settlements formed in eastern North America from 900 to 1400 AD were fortified. And this is because around that time, Mississippian Indians from the Midwest and the South were moving east and in constant conflict with the tribes they were encountering.
So this does nothing to argue against the idea that violence increased after colonization. No one is arguing that there was no violence prior to colonization.
It's also stupid to say they built protection for themselves. That means that they were a super violent people. They knew that there was a chance of them being hurt by others. So they, like, what? That doesn't even like necessarily add up.
Only that it increased. What's happening here is of course, that the, Cahokia collapsed, that the Mississippian societies collapsed somehow. We don't quite know how. So yeah, a lot of them did move east.
I'm pretty sure the like main theory is that it was because of like trade routes and like a lot of civilizations and peoples, it's like a large increase of population that doesn't like it can't be accounted for by the amount of resources, and so it just ends up kind of fizzling out from there. And then because then you have you have that, and then it creates like social instability, and then a collapse from there.
There was a period of warfare for a time. There was a period of uncertainty. There was also a period of, dare I say, degrowth, where the urban dwelling Mississippian cultures broke up into much smaller societies. That is kind of the sort of eastern seaboard of North America that Europeans eventually found, was this kind of like society that essentially had consciously or not rejected urban living and kind of, I guess, empire building, if you could call Cahokia an empire, in favor of much more decentralized, non-hierarchical societies based on kinship networks. That's the world that Europeans stumble across. Do you see how much more interesting indigenous history actually is than the way that these fucking fascists are portraying it? Do you see how much of a disservice that he's doing? Like, never mind the fucking racism. Do you understand, like, how he thinks you're a fucking idiot? Like, truly, he thinks you're such a fucking moron.
Not only were the Indians committing atrocities against each other before Europeans arrived, but they also got less violent after the white man got there. According to Keeley, the percentage of burials in coastal British Columbia bearing evidence of violent traumas was actually lower after European contact, 13% from 1774 to 1874, than the very high levels, 20 to 32% evidence in prehistoric periods.
That's such a fucking... Also, those numbers are so specific. Like, he's about to point out something, a completely different argument, but those numbers are so specific. I would love to see the actual calculations made.
Prehistoric periods could literally be thousands of years of history, so that essentially tells us nothing. Let's find this fucking book. He's referenced it a number of times. War Before Civilization by Lawrence Keeley. Hey, I just went to the bathroom, but I've been sitting here actually for like 15 minutes reading this book, and it's actually pretty good. So essentially what this guy, Lawrence Keeley, is trying to do, he's writing in the 90s, and essentially he's kind of responding to this idea that I basically just said, which is that, as he calls it, primitive war, which is the title of a fucking dinosaur movie and should not be fucking seriously used in scholarship, because like this whole idea of primitive versus civilized is entirely problematic and semantic and kind of means nothing, or at the very least means different things to each people, and is like full of fucking like Eurocentric bias. So yeah, there's kind of a lot to dig in here, but he's sort of basically saying that he's presenting a bunch of evidence that no, in fact, modern, I'll just say, industrial and post-industrial warfare is less violent on average than sort of pre-industrial warfare. I'm definitely going to sit down and read this whole thing at some point, because I don't agree, but this guy seems pretty smart, seems like a good head on his shoulders, and I want to know. I want to know what his arguments are. Which it's interesting. He's kind of making this comparison between the sort of Rousseauian view of the the homme sauvage, the savage man, that basically humanity is inherently good and that society kind of corrupts him. But basically, he's kind of arguing that the opposite is true. Sort of this kind of Hobbesian, from what I understand. Again, I'm just kind of skimming here. I'll sit down and read the whole book later, which again seems very interesting, and it's free on the Ted K archive. Thanks, Theo, for uploading this, if this was you. Yeah, this sort of is taking this kind of Hobbesian view that, that humans are inherently fucked up, perverted little creatures, and, And
that theory just doesn't even make any sense, because I guess the only way you can posit that theory is if like you're religious, if you're like Christian in nature or something. But then that also goes against Christianity, because I think Christianity, or I guess it doesn't necessarily say anything about like the innate nature, just that people corrupt. Because I'm just thinking like from like a philosophical perspective, if people are innately evil and perverted and horrific, barbaric, then how did society form out of that? If we are no different than the animals that surround us, that just logically doesn't like follow.
To be governed. So here's a really interesting quote from the conclusion of this book that I want to
Nice reaction, Captain. Thanks. Get one of these
to you guys. So Keeley says, the real weakness of pre-civilized war making has been at the highest strategic level rooted in the weaker logistic capacities imposed by small populations, slim economic surpluses, and limited transportation capacities. These true deficiencies, all determined by the social and economic features inherent in tribal life itself, have made it almost impossible for tribal warriors to conduct planned campaigns and prolonged sieges. It was the concentration of resources and power in hierarchical political organizations, the millions of cannon-fodder citizens subject to their disposal, the galleon, the compass, and the sextant, the ox wagon, steam engine, railroads, and factory production, as well as smallpox, measles, and weeds that allowed the nations of Western...
Wouldn't the Christian perspective be that you can exist in your sinful body thanks to the sacrifice of Christ? That's what I was thinking, is because I'm just trying to think about... because we're born into sin, right? That's like the idea is that when babies are born, they're born into sin. And so if you're born into sin, you're saved then through Jesus Christ. So it's like a completely nullifies that. Interesting. So maybe it's counter-Christian.
Europe to gain ascendancy over the uncivilized world during the past half millennium. He doesn't put quotes on uncivilized, tellingly. I do. It was not the much discussed and theatrical weaponry, discipline, and tactical techniques that gave soldiers their eventual triumphs, but their mastery of the rather pedestrian arcana of logistics. Very interesting. Very interesting. Keeley argues that primitive societies would have done large-scale warfare if they could. I would argue that they had no reason to. Saying that people will always do the worst possible thing...
That was interesting because his point was not contrary to Keeley. Because he's just saying, yeah, they had no reason to. If they had a reason to, they might have. But they didn't because they didn't need to. And more than likely couldn't on a scale. Like, I don't know. It's just like, it's kind of circular where there's no cost at the end.
In the right circumstances is, first off, pretty dismal. And second of all, it ignores the real reason that people do horrible things, which is because they have an incentive to do them. In 2005, here in New Orleans, there was basically no state for 3 months or something. No law, no order, people had to fend for themselves. They were on their own, right? Basically, modern life, the modern supply chain as we know it was gone. You would think, and it was widely reported at the time, but almost all of the stories ended up being false, that people would just fall into debauchery.
Of course, they had a reason to. They had a reason to engage in warfare. It might have gotten lost in the long-winded way that I stated it, but it's specifically talking about genocidal warfare. So like warfare for the purpose of like destroying an entire group, which was just like, I don't know what the evidence of that would be.
There would be rape and murder and crime, and people would attack each other and fight over resources and all that kind of stuff. You know what happened instead? People came together. People met up at bars. There's a bar in my neighborhood that was like a meeting place for people during the storm, where people camped out, where they shared resources, where they helped each other. At the abandoned hospital where we shot most of my movie, which is coming out later this year. It's a good excuse for me to plug it. The Vampires of New Orleans. The abandoned hospital where we shot.
Yeah, they expanded their territory through war, but I don't know if they wanted genocide. Yeah, that's what I was talking about before, is a lot of the time it was basically just like a land grab, but it would just be to push like other tribes like kind of away. The only time it would become necessary to like make sure that you're killing the entire tribe would be like in the instance of back and forth warfare over those shared resources that they need to like claim. Whether it's like access to like water or whatever.
Lindy Boggs Medical Center, one male nurse stayed behind with everybody's pets when all the people who had fled to the hospital for safety got evacuated. Wasn't mass rape, wasn't mass murder. None of that happened. It didn't happen. And in fact, when these things do happen, both today and historically, when people do commit murder, commit genocide, commit acts of violence, do horrible things, they've got to think up justifications for it. Humans are really good at, we're really good about this. We're really good at doing this. We invent elaborate justifications to get over our natural cognitive dissonance, that our conscience that is trying to prevent us from doing bad things. We have to talk ourselves out of that so that we can do them. You have to dehumanize your enemies in war. You have to create hierarchies. So some life is more privileged than others, and the non-privileged life, well, that's just, whatever. We can just do whatever we want to them, because it's like in our perception, in our fucking minds, where all of this fucking hierarchy shit exists, all of this fucking nation state shit exists, it's only fucking here. We've got to think about this stuff. And that's why we fucking go overseas and fucking bomb brown kids. And that's why we fucking are destroying the biosphere of this planet. That's why we do all these fucking horrible things. Because we've invented stories in our own fucking minds that justify them.
Well, to be fair, we aren't the ones creating the stories. It's always the elites, It isn't the soldier that's pulling the trigger. It's the man who gave him the orders, And a lot of the time, it's not even that guy. It's, it's up the chain because somebody needed something. Somebody wanted something.
So telling. This is so foundational to the ideology of somebody like Matt Walsh, to the conservative and neo-fascist mind. They are so misanthropic. Some of you fucking idiots think I'm misanthropic because I don't think we should kill 80 billion chickens a year. But you fucking idiots, you don't fucking know misanthropic. You wouldn't know it if it fucking slapped you in the face with its fucking dick. These are the fucking misanthropes. They think that humans are inherently bad, that they're born sinners, that if they had no civilization, if there were no rules, that they would just go fucking wild and rape and murder and fucking do all these horrible things, and that it's rules and authority that prevent them from doing these things. Everybody's born a sinner, and if you work very, very hard and do exactly what daddy tells you to do, can you possibly have the opportunity to be saved. That's what these people believe. Well, I reject that. Because I don't think we need these stories. I don't think we need these fucking rules. I don't think we need any of this. I think that if we're just left on our own, in community with each other, things will actually just work out. because I don't think that anybody naturally wants to harm anybody else. They do it when they feel like they have to, and when they've invented stories to justify doing it. You know? That's the abandoned hospital, by the way. And because I know you're dying to see what it looks like inside, here's a behind-the-scenes clip from the Vampires of New Orleans, coming fall 2026.
This guy's vids are interesting. I like the history talk. Yeah, I like I've liked a lot of his videos that I've seen. He seems very dedicated.
I'm terrified. Like, I felt this immediate weight walking in here, just like.
New Orleans feels primed for telling vampire stories.
Honestly, you have to think about this. You don't have to be scared in a place that has a bunch of spray paint, because that means a dude was sitting in there spray painting for 15, 20 minutes. You know what I mean? It all depends. Some guys are pretty quick, but if you don't see the can of spray paint sitting at the floor with shoe prints stood still in time, I think you'll be fine.
You're, 10 grand, 15 grand over budget, V?
See, it's always more scary to me when you're in an abandoned place that doesn't have any, that's untouched. Because then it's ooh, what's going on in here?
Yeah, it was crazy. There was a lot of goo, a lot of bodily fluids. But, we got our shots, we think. Moment of truth comes in the editing room.
Take 3 bar.
Long before 13.
I'm only scared of other people that could be in these places, never ghosts. Yeah, it's always some homeless guy with a knife. Oh, that was something I was going to bring up. On the H3 show, when they were having the argument about homeless people, when they were all I hate homeless people so much, when they were talking about that was crazy. No, when they were talking about is it okay to say homeless? From every homeless person I've ever known, they've always called themselves homeless. And I've known quite a few homeless people, lifelong homeless people, new age homeless people, circumstantial homeless people. The homeless is not a problem. I realized where Tamara's confusion came from, though, where she thought hobo was a derogatory term. No. Hobo isn't the problem. Bum is the problem. If you're calling homeless people bums, that's rude. That's very rude. But there you go. Just a thought.
British colonies made themselves into the United States. The 6 nations of the Iroquois Confederacy, Seneca, Cayuga, Onondaga, Tuscarora, Oneida, and Mohawk, had created a union of their own that they called the Haudenosaunee, a democracy that had flourished for centuries.
Somehow, strangely enough, Ken Burns forgot to tell us that when the Iroquois captured an enemy combatant, the combatant was not immediately executed, but instead tortured during the war party's return to camp.
Oh my fucking God, this is so stupid. When Ken Burns mentioned that Einstein discovered the theory of relativity, he failed to mention that one time he also masturbated into a dish towel. So what? What are our democracies not capable of torturing people to death? Somebody fucking tell Dick Cheney that.
Another pervasive myth about Native Americans combines 2 contradictory ideas into one. Native Americans had no concept of property rights, particularly over land, and that Europeans stole the land from them.
Okay, so there is no contradiction here. What Walsh is describing basically loses the nuance of what was actually at play in these land deals and these interactions. Private property is something very specific. That is a very specific concept that is European and colonial, especially as it relates to the legal system, right? The legal enforcement of private property. That is a very specific concept.
Well, like he was talking before, it's just a way of enforcing a justification to destruction. When you've created this claim for property legally, you have created now a justification to defend that property. And so if you've tricked nefariously people into agreeing to these like trades, these deals that are unbeneficial to them, yeah, it's like you can think that it's like it's okay, but it's or you can think that it's like legal and justifiable, but it's still wrong.
It is different from the idea of personal property. It is different from the idea of communal, national property, which is what was at play in these land disputes. Europeans often understood this difference, unlike Matt Walsh. You often hear, especially in New England, people will say like, oh, well, most of this land was like bought legally. And that's true, like under the European legal system, but many of the people writing these contracts were very aware that this was not an equitable exchange. They were very aware that the indigenous people on the other side of the table didn't quite understand what the European, like what they were really agreeing to, or rather that the indigenous people at the other side of the table thought that they were agreeing to something else than the European did. So, it's not a contradiction. Matt Walsh is just a fucking idiot.
Modern moral sensibilities about.
I'm sorry, I take that back. He's not an idiot. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's a stooge for the fossil fuel industry and for the billionaire class. And he is basically trying to incite a pogrom. This is a fucking passion play. It's a passion play. Just like the passion plays in the Middle Ages stirred up pogroms against the Jews. This is a passion play.
It's always interesting how quickly people like Walsh try to downplay and even victimize the colonial behavior and go, everybody did it back then, instead of, yeah, that was fucked up. But then is also so quick to talk about how fucked up these other things were, like these other like acts engaged upon by the indigenous peoples or whatever, what have you.
Meant to stir up hatred and violence for indigenous people, who, by the way, are murdered at a shockingly higher rate than other groups in this fucking country. There are literally fucking, how many fucking thousands? Hundreds of thousands of fucking missing and murdered indigenous women. A 2016 study by the National Institute of Justice found that more than 4 in 5 American Indian and Alaska Native women, 84.3%, have experienced violence in their lifetime, including 56.1% who have experienced sexual violence. These are people who are statistically, overwhelmingly, more likely than not, who are going to experience getting beaten up, getting raped, getting fucking murdered. And Matt Walsh is stirring up more violence against them. This guy belongs in fucking prison.
As late as the 1870s, it seemed like nothing.
Hey, he said it, not me.
Stop Comanche raids on settlers in Texas. In 1871, Indian raids against civilian targets were so brutal, and vicious, and numerous that some American military leaders expected all the settlers to leave. Colonel Randolph.
And again, it's like those justifications are used on both sides. It's literally just one side sees the other as evil, but to be fair, one side was there first. That's kind of the argument. They go and engage in what is abhorrent behavior in kidnapping, the murder of children. But again, it's happening on both sides to both groups of these people, both groups of peoples. But one of them was here first and is in some regard defending their land.
Marcy, who was on tour with William Tecumseh Sherman, wrote, "If the Indian marauders are not punished, the whole country seems in far way of becoming totally depopulated." By 1874, Comanche raiders were hitting towns from southern Colorado to Kansas to the Texas frontier. Pioneers were terrorized over thousands of miles.
Oh my God, you're so right. Matt Walsh does have the same voice as Cenk Uygur. They do have like the exact same voice. That was my problem with this video. Like, we need any more indigenous hate in this country. Yeah, it is just crazy. Because all it does at this point take like the littlest bit of research to really see so much. I mean, just even outside of like indigenous people, like you can find out so much just like with the littlest bit of research, but for some reason people love to hide behind all of these lies. It's crazy.
On July 26, President Ulysses S. Grant gave General Sherman permission to crush the tribes. Control of the reservations was transferred to the Army, and the Army was to subdue all Indians who offered resistance to constituted authority. Economic
You
strain.
see, and again, like that stated, that should be something that should be seen as like wrong. But he's saying it in a way that's trying to make it justified to say, well, it was an order given by the president because of these horrid things that were being done by the indigenous people. So, like, look at that. Look at this crazy thing, right?
Strength and better logistics is what helped America conquer the West. But it was also by accident. The final defeat of the Sioux, the Cheyenne, the Comanche, and the Apache almost directly coincided with the decline of the great northern and southern bison herds.
This is very interesting because in a way he's being quite complimentary to Native Americans, right?
Cenk Grants always go nuts. That's fair. He sounds like Cenk if Cenk was like lulled by some type of drug. Like Matt Walsh is a true sociopath. He like has no emotions. He's one of those people that's just always talking like this. What do you mean? I just hate you to your core. I think you're a horrible person. And then he just goes on like he didn't just say that. Like, what, Matt?
Is emphasizing their military skill, portraying Native Americans as basically, winning, in the, Indian wars of the West. In fact, this is like, this is so much like that Whitest Kids You Know skit, where the Native Americans basically forced the Europeans to kill them all.
There's no need to be rash, Indians. We're getting in our boats and we're leaving.
If you go back without killing us all, we're gonna follow you back to Europe and rape all your babies. Then we're gonna rape all the babies in the world.
That is too fucking funny. But of course, everything about this is wrong. So essentially, kind of what he's leaving out, he glosses over the genocide of the buffalo when in fact that was the primary tactic, right? I mean, Sherman and Sheridan knew that they had, that the indigenous people of the Great Plains were dependent on the buffalo for literally everything. So you kill the buffalo and you kill the Indians. It was as simple as that. Also, and of course, Matt Walsh would never mention this because he is a stooge of corporate America and just a fucking useful idiot for capitalism. He would never mention, of course, the strong capitalist motives for the conquest of the West, namely the animal agriculture industry, the beef industry. The West today is defined by cattle ranching, and the meat industry very consciously helped orchestrate the genocide of the buffalo and in turn, obviously, the genocide of the Plains Nations so that they could have grazing land. Okay, I'm done with this. That was really fucking bad. So to sum up, Walsh is advancing a very particular philosophical viewpoint, the viewpoint of this guy, Lawrence Keeley, which I think, Keeley seems to argue it much better than Walsh does, obviously, but obviously it's a very dismal view of human nature, he's arguing we need civilization, we need authority, and we need structure to protect us from ourselves. Not surprising, right? I guess in terms of this time of rising authoritarianism, right? I mean, this video really is a defense of authoritarianism and of civilization. And I want to wrap up here by just addressing a concern that some of you brought to me in the last Matt Walsh response video, which is like, is this a lot of hand wringing about like, is this helpful? Is this, you're being so mean and so dismissive. What does this actually do? You're not going to convince any conservatives, that Matt Walsh is wrong and all that kind of stuff. And, I guess what I have to say to that is that people like me, history and science communicators, people fighting against pseudoscience and historical misinformation, have been making videos that have been designed to de-radicalize people and to, sort of like gently coax fascists and conservatives into, you know, the light of evidence-based reason for a long time. I mean, really since Gamergate, right? That this has been like a thing. It's been more than 10 years at this point that this that content creators have sort of embarked upon this mission. And I guess what I have to say is, how's that working out? Is that working out pretty well? So just to clarify this a bit,
I had to look it up because I did know that Davy Crockett, like, he was a slaver. What else? In his controversy section. And then there's just controversy about his death. Because there's controversy on whether or not he died in battle or died, like, if he was put to death afterward. Really? Oh shit. No, yes, the popular mythology of Crockett's death in American culture is one of the heroic last stand, a tale that is backed up by some historical evidence. For example, I don't think this is his slave. I think this is just a former slave. A former African-American slave named Ben, who had acted as a cook for one of Santa Anna's officers, maintained that Crockett's body was found in the barracks surrounded by no less than 16 Mexican corpses, with Crockett's knife buried in one of them. There is, however, historical evidence countering the popular myth, with stories of a Crockett surrender and execution circulating as far back as just a few weeks after the battle. He was a traitor. I was just remembering the Alamo. The Alamo was one of those things. It's like the Alamo wasn't actually a good thing. The Alamo's the bad guys. Well, I think throughout history, it is just the truth, right? Where it's like, there are no heroes. And any of the heroes were working for demons, you know what I mean? Like any true hero that was like a saint would have been working for a demon that had nefarious ulterior motives. Jeffree Star gonna eat all the buffalo? Save them and eat them. That's the only reason to bring them back, right?
I am continually frustrated how much we center the feelings and sensibilities of mediocre white sword bros, especially in the history community, that we baby these people, we coddle them as though changing their minds is the most important thing in the world.
Just chilling, walking around the graveyard.
I simply think that the reason that we find ourselves at this authoritarian fascist impasse is because people are scared and frightened. They're angry because they have material uncertainty, because they can't fucking afford to live. And it's the wealth inequality and unusual and severe weather patterns exacerbated by climate change that is causing people to lose faith in institutions and embrace magical thinking and embrace authoritarian politics. Changing people's mind, one mind at a time, is quite simply just not the best way to solve that problem. We need to attack that problem at the root, which is to address their economic insecurity. I think this is quite a bit like the period of the witch trials, for instance. I've talked about on this channel before also that periods of witch hysteria often coincided to extreme and unusual weather, as well as economic insecurity. So, it's not that I think that this whole project of getting good information to the masses is useless, but my feelings about it have certainly changed. I'm not saying that no one should post online. I'm not saying that there's, Taylor Lorenz kind of famously says, oh, we shouldn't see.
What are the fucking odds? What are the actual odds that he's going to bring up Taylor Lorenz? I thought I liked you, Atson Shea. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see what he has to say, though.
Have certainly changed. I'm not saying that no one should post online. I'm not saying that there's, Taylor Lorenz kind of famously says, oh, we shouldn't cede the internet to the fascists. But, I think you can do a little bit of, you can do some harm reduction with Master's tools. but you can't tear down Master's house with Master's tools. And the tech companies, since 2024, have said, we're taking a right-hand turn.
What he said was in opposition to Taylor Lorenz's point. So, point Attenche.
And we want right-wing voices to be amplified, and we want left-wing voices, we want scientists, we want historians, and we want educated people silenced. The fight isn't on your phone. It's not in a fucking YouTube video. It's not in a fucking, you know, whatever, Doctor Who and Colonialism Part 7, The Reckoning.
They would have said I was a bitch. Witch! No. Maybe they would have said both. You never know. They said, this bitch is a witch. They would have, it would have been the first rapper. Crazy. You never know.
Not in any of that shit. It's out there. It's out there in the real world. That's where it's actually going to happen. And that's where we've got the best shot. Earlier tonight, I went to my local DSA chapter. We started this little eco-socialist working group. And, you know, just talking for 2 hours and chilling and, you know, just hanging out. We immediately set upon a plan to help this one guy in the city with his community garden. Not enough volunteers are coming out to clean it up, so we're going to go clean it up for him. That's 2 hours of my time. That's less time than I'm going to spend working on this video. And we're actually going to win something. We're actually going to accomplish something. Stark times we're living in. Stay safe. Get ready. And keep fighting.
Great video as always. Go check out Ashton Shea Films if you want to see some more stuff. Dropped something about Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is basically just Frankenstein. The horrors of car-centric cemeteries. History according to Nazis. Matt Walsh's fascist history of slavery debunked. I'm not worried about the Second Civil War. Checkmate Lincolnites. I haven't heard that. But a lot of good stuff. But that is where I'm going to end it off for me. Let me see if anybody else is streaming right now that I can send you guys to. I do appreciate everybody that stopped in. It was a small stream, a short stream. I guess it wasn't that short. It was about the same as normal. But I do appreciate everybody for stopping in. I will be back again on Wednesday. I'm thinking maybe... I'm working on videos right now, so I was thinking maybe tomorrow, but I'm for sure going to be back on Wednesday. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, as usual. Trying to get some more streams in there, though, as well. I do appreciate everybody for stopping by. I'm trying to see... Why does this thing always glitch out? So, add a redirect. Who's here? I'll send you to Lus. Do the opposite of what usually happens. Thank you all so much.